Hello, and welcome to the first lesson on Excel. You're here today with Nana, and we will be going through Excel, which is a powerful tool used to do calculations, organize events, organize data and information in general. And going through this lesson, you will learn the basics on how to use Excel as a tool. So first thing is first, open Excel on your device. So for me, all I have to do is click start, type in XEXCEL, and there it is. It says open. In different circumstances, I would click open and it would bring me to this page right here. But today we will be working already in this open Excel sheet. So I will continue to work in this. So once you click open, it will bring you here and then you can create a new sheet. It's also called a workbook in this case. So all you would have to do is double click this and it would bring you to your new worksheet. So I want you guys to click it and it'll bring you to your new sheet. I'm just going to do this as well. As you can see, it opened up on my screen, but I already do have one I'm working in for this lesson. So please follow along on your own workbook. All right. So to move on to our next step in Excel, as you can see, it is by columns and by rows. And so what you would like to do, just to start off with, I'm going to start from A7. You want to put in some data. So for example, I can put the number 1 and under it, I can put the number 2. And by simply clicking enter, it takes me down to the next cell. So then I'm going to click 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to just stop right there because it's enough. And to edit this data, all you have to do is double click inside the sheet or inside the cell, and you can erase it by backspacing, and you can enter something new, like maybe the number 12, and then clicking enter to go down to the next new cell. You can also double click it, or you can come up here and press the bar of text up here, in which you can also edit the text. I'm going to make that 1 again. Click enter. If you want to move instead of up and down, you can click tab. So from 2 to tab goes up, enter goes down. All right. And that is about it. You can also delete the contents of a cell by simply pressing it once and clicking the button delete on your device, then double clicking again if you want to edit it. And I'm just going to put that 2 right back. Okay, so now that we know how to edit the cells and we know how to, in general, input data, now I'm going to continue on into formatting. So in this case, you want to right click on a certain cell, let's say A9 in this case, right click, and you would click format cells. In formatting the cell, you can fill it in with a border, such as an outline. You can fill it in with a color, like purple. You can change the font of it, like, let's say italics, a braille, and then simply click OK. And as you can see, our number, our font, and the outline of the box have all been filled in, which, if you want to be fancy, these are steps you can definitely take. And yes, so this is how you format. I'm going to return our formatting, our cell back to normal, in which I would simply click this, go back to regular, go back to border, and, say nothing, no color, and click OK. That's probably close enough. Okay, to move on. Now we have basic formulas. So one of the strongest components or parts of Excel is that all you have to do is say equals and then select a cell. And let's say we want to add 2 cells together. So I'll say plus the next cell. So all I did was click each cell, put a plus between them, and now I'm going to click enter. And now Excel has added the two of them simply by clicking their cells. If I go back and I edit these, and let's say I put a 6 here, now this cell will change because it is adding the cell, not the actual number. So it's adding A10 and A11. Therefore, anything edited within A10 and A11 will constantly come out as a new sum in C7 in this case. So just to return this back to 4 and go through that again, just so you guys understand, what I did was equals, and then I selected a cell with data, and let's do minus this time, subtracted by whatever is inside of the cell A7. So in this case, we click enter, and it is subtracting A8 by A7, which in this case equals 1. And so if I take whatever is in A8 and I make it a different number, it will still subtract whatever is in A8 by whatever is in A7. I hope that that makes sense. Again, you can completely ask me questions once this has been sent out to you all and such. So there are also more complex functions such as sum, average, and max. And so in this case, you still say enter, but then you spell out sum. And so these formulas will come up for you. So we're just going to do a simple one, such as sum. And what you want to do is say enter, right? And in this enter, you're going to have to put a parentheses, and then you can select this. You can select a cell, simply say plus and select another cell, and then finish the parentheses, click enter, and it adds the two cells together. This is the same as the formula we did before, except this can become much more complex. So let's say I don't just want to add two cells together. I want to add all the data I have together. So what you would do is you take it from here and you simply drag the mouse down. Drag the mouse down. Don't lift the mouse, simply drag it down to encompass all of the data you have here. And then you click enter again. And now it is adding everything from A7 to A11. And now we're getting the sum of that. You can go further and even, add more data to that and say plus this cell and plus this cell, and it would add everything for you. So it's very interesting. And Excel has many, many formulas like this. As you can see, when you say equals and a letter, it shows you all of the formulas it has starting with that letter. And there are so many, but today we will just be touching on the basics. So let's say I look at max in this case, and I'm just going to select it out of all of the data we have. So it should return the max number. What is the biggest number out of this row of data? 5. 5 is the biggest number, and therefore it returns the biggest number. And that is just, an example there. You can go through and perhaps even say min. And again, it will show you the smallest number in the list of data. In this case, it is 1. That would be 1. And please keep in mind that these are all formulas. So once you go back and you edit these, it is not as easy as pressing this, which simply has the number 1 in it. Once you go back and edit these, it will change the formula, and therefore you will be getting a different number or an error if you, for example, take too much away from here. It's going to say name ? Because it doesn't understand what you want, because you haven't specified a certain selection or section of the data. And so once I put back in what was missing before, it says 1 again because we filled in the entire formula. All right, let's keep going. So autofill is another wonderful trick that Excel has. So you see how our data goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in that is a pattern. So if we were to click number 5 here and pull, drag down, actually, give me a second. If I was to take my general data, such as this, and I was to pull this down, following the pattern already specified in our data, it simply fills in everything. It even filled in the 3, copying it as an 8 because that was the pattern shown inside of our Excel data. So I hope that makes sense. All you had to do is highlight the box. So you push down your mouse and drag, and then you take the small dot at the corner and pull that down, and it will simply fill it in for you, or according to the pattern you've already specified. So if I were to do a different pattern in this row and I went up by 2s instead of 1s, and I decided to pull that down from right here, it would also go up by 2s. And that is pretty much with any pattern in Excel, whether that's ABC order or formulas, or even something as basic as this going up 2 by 2 or 1 by 1. Yeah. So, oh, I'm sorry, I went up. That is autofill. So now we're down to sorting and filtering. So sorting is as easy as highlighting a certain selection of data, let's say, and you would go over to the tab data, you click sort, and let's say I want it from highest to lowest. And I would click this, and it's saying it would. Okay, so it's asking me whether or not I want to go further down the list, but I'm just going to say continue with current selection. So it won't affect anything down here. So what I did was simply tell it to flip the list, sort my data from highest to lowest. So it took the data we had before, starting at 1 to 10, and it flipped it because now 10 is the highest number and 1 is the lowest. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And now with the remaining numbers, I'm going to show you guys how to filter. So filtering is as easy as still staying in the data tab, clicking filter, and now after it loads a bit, you have cancel. I'm sorry, that happens when you double click it and it thinks something is supposed to happen. So now filter has been applied. So if it looks at the data you have and it asks you if you want to select all, get rid of the 12, get rid of the 14, and in that case, it simply deletes them for you. So filter is really convenient when you are tired, or not tired, but you no longer need a certain kind of data in your sheet or your workbook. And so you filter it all out by simply highlighting everything and then applying filter to it. So it's very, very, very useful. And now charts. Charts is one of the most useful parts of Excel, I would say, myself. And so you go over to insert and you would highlight a section of your data. And all of these are possible charts. So it's up to you what you would like to use. But just for, visual purposes, I will be using a scatter chart. So in this chart, it is simply showing us what our data looks like. And I'm going to move it over a bit so you guys can still see the work that we did before. So in this case, I highlighted from 10 to 1, and it took it and then plotted it for me. As you can see, it starts at 1, goes all the way up to 10 and then stops. Because our data was descending, now the line is descending, and we have a perfectly great chart that maps out our data. And so in this case, you can customize it. You can change the title by simply clicking it. You can do so much with this. Solid fill, pattern fill, all these things are very specific if you want to change the design of anything you have going on here. You can edit it by single clicking chart and putting a name such as, let's call it numbers. I'm sorry if you guys cannot see this. Double click if you simply want to change the pattern again. I'm just going to go back to automatic just so you guys can read that better. You can add, all you have to do is click this plus if you want to add access titles, which are just a name for the row and the column of your graph. You can add data labels, which simply labels what the data actually is. Error bars, which shows the margin of error for your data. Legend, which shows you what data is supposed to be for, like in case you have multiple kinds of data. Legend would be useful in case you have colors and like what that is supposed to be for. Like, let's say I had blue and I also had pink because I also highlight another piece of information, which is a bit complex. So we won't be getting into that today, but for now, this is all you need to know. And then a trend line simply connects the dots and shows you a general pattern of your data. So you can add all of these things in by simply clicking check on those boxes, but it is up to you. Today, we're having a very basic demo, so we won't be getting into that too much. All right, and now we're going to our last bit of work. So we go, after you've created your wonderful workbook, you can click File and save your data. So what I'm going to do is save mine to my PC and enter a name for this, which I'm going to call it Tut for tutorial. And just to show you guys a little bit better, what I'm going to do is click Save, and it saves it to my PC, which is wonderful. That is exactly what I wanted. And now, I'm so sorry, guys. And now everything is just as it's supposed to be. And after that, to close Excel, you would simply click X here. This is another Excel sheet I was working on. And that is all. Thank you guys so much for listening and being here. Please contact me if you have any questions. This is the end of the lesson. Excel has so many more tools, so many more tabs, so many more places that you can definitely utilize and create more amazing things. But unfortunately, this is just a basic lesson 1. So perhaps I will be coming to you guys with a lesson 2. But for now, this is all you need to know to create wonderful, wonderful applications in Excel. So thank you.